out there. This is a channel that will give you an opportunity to learn on different business principles and concepts, and basically all the information that you need for you to get that distinction in that exam. And it's simple. All you need to do is subscribe, watch, and learn. Okay, now today we're going to be looking at yet another interesting topic. But before we do that, as per tradition, allow me to aid you to go and look up for any of my videos that you missed up there. And because you definitely need that information for your exam, and you also definitely need that information for your business. Okay, now today we are going to be looking at another interesting topic, like I said. And now, before we look at the topic of discussion for today, in one of my videos previously, we were looking at the basic human needs and wants. Okay, so like we said in our previous video, because people are going to need and want a lot of things in order for them to be happy. Okay, so that will go for someone to be involved in the process of making those things available so that those people can use them and be happy in the end. Okay, and now that brings us now to what is known as production. Okay, so our topic for discussion today is production. We'll be looking at what production is, and then we'll also look at the branches of production in a little bit more. Okay, so without wasting much time, what is production? Okay, now production is simply the provision of goods and services in order to meet the needs and wants of people. Okay, so this is simply the provision of goods and services in order to make people happy out there, so that people can have whatever it is that they want to have, or whatever it is that they need to have. Okay, so the process of making goods or services available to people is what is known as production. Okay, now production can also be defined as the provision of goods and services in order to make people happy, or in order to meet their needs and wants. But at the same time, we are saying that production can also be defined as the creation of utility or value. Okay, so when you make something, or when you create something which is useful, or something that is going to help people meet their needs and wants, then you also qualify to be a producer. Okay, so what we are simply saying is that production can also be defined as the creation of utility or the creation of value. Okay, so you are not limited to defining production as the provision of goods and services in order to meet the needs and wants, but you can also define production as the creation of utility or value. Okay, so when you create something that people will find useful, or when you make something that will make people happy, then you are a producer. Okay, you are involved in the process of production. This is why sometimes we say everyone out there is a producer, as long as you are contributing something, okay, towards making somebody happy, towards meeting somebody's needs or wants, then you qualify to be a producer. Okay, the only person who cannot be referred to as a producer is a thief, because thieves, instead of contributing something towards making people happy, they actually take away that which makes people happy. Okay, so a thief is the only person who cannot be referred to as a producer, because they don't make people happy, they don't contribute, rather they take away that which makes people happy. Okay, now with that being said, now let's look at production. Now that we have talked about we have defined what production is, okay, let's move on to look at the branches of production. Okay, now this production that we are talking about, we are saying is classified into three categories. Okay, we have the first category, which is industry. Okay, and then the second category is what is referred to as commerce, and then the third class or classification of production is what is known as direct services. Okay, so those are the three branches of production. We have the first one, which is industry, and then the second one we have commerce, and then number three we also have what is known as direct services. Okay, now when we talk of industry as a branch of production, this is what we are talking about. Okay, so industry is that branch of production which is actually classified into two stages. Okay, we have what is known as a primary industry, sometimes referred to as extractive industry, and then we also have what is known as a secondary industry. And a good example that we can give under primary industry is mining. Okay, so when they extract the raw materials from nature, they will pass on those raw materials to the second stage of production or industry, which is secondary industry. Okay, secondary industry is that stage in the production process which is now going to be concerned with the process of converting or changing the raw materials into semi-finished products or finished products which people can use out there. Okay, so that is the first branch of production, okay, industry, okay. And then the second one is commerce, and then commerce, we are saying commerce is simply trade and aids to trade, okay. So when you get all the aspects of trade and the aspects of commercial services, you combine them together, then you have the second branch of production, okay. Now, why is commerce referred to as a branch of production? It's because it helps in distributing goods and services from areas of production to areas of want, okay. So it's commerce which makes it possible for whatever it is that is produced in the sectors of industry, okay, to be taken to areas of demand where people will actually need to have access to those things so that they can use, okay. So commerce, like we said in our previous video, we said that commerce is simply involved with the distribution, okay. The main role of commerce is simply to distribute goods from areas of production to areas of want, okay. So commerce becomes part of production because without commerce, goods and services will not be delivered, will not be taken, will not be distributed to people that actually need them, okay. So that is the second branch of production. Now, the other thing that we need to understand when we are talking about commerce as a branch of production, it involves all aspects of trade, okay. That is home trade and international trade, okay, and all the subdivisions of the two, okay. By subdivisions, I mean retail trade and wholesale trade, import, interport and export trade, okay. All those put together, okay, they are part of commerce, and they also help production by making sure that goods are delivered to the people that want to have those goods so that they can use them, okay. Now, commerce as a branch of production also involves those aids to trade and commercial services, okay, because they work hand in hand with trade in order to make sure that, or in order to see to it that goods are actually delivered or taken to people that want them, okay. So that is the second branch of production, and then the third branch of production is what is known as direct services, okay. Now, this is the provision of direct services which people will need from time to time but cannot be touched or seen, but rather can just be enjoyed, okay. So some of the services that direct services will offer as a branch of production is health, we have education, we have entertainment, we have legal aid, we have healthcare systems, and all the other services that an individual will need in order to be satisfied in one or the other, okay. So people like nurses, people like teachers, people like lawyers, doctors, and so on and so forth, those will not fall under industry or commerce, but instead they will fall under what is known as direct service, okay. So those people that are involved in the industry, those that are involved in the aspects of commerce, that is trade and the aids to trade, including those that are in direct services, okay. All those people put together, they are referred to as producers because they are involved in the process of production, and because in one way or the other, they help in satisfying the needs and wants of people by making things available for them to use, okay. So that brings us to the end of our video, but again, before I leave, please don't forget to smash that subscription button down there, and also like my video, and also leave comments there so that I get to know what you people think about my videos, and I'll see you in my next video. Please stay safe out there. I love you.